January the 7th, 2023. Guys, you're looking at images today of our sun, and we have a 20% chance of solar flares, and as a matter of fact, 20% chance of X flares. And if it does happen, they're saying it will probably come from Sunspot 3182. That's the one on the left here as it stops. It has produced X flares yesterday on January the 6th and on January the 3rd. They were not Earth-facing, but now this thing is turning that way. 3181 to the right is in the Earth-facing position. It has grown somewhat, but 3181 behind, or 3182 behind it, guys, has produced X flares. Now, this was an X1.2 flare. Now, go back to yesterday on the 6th, and you can see this X1.2 solar flare just on this eastern limb. The flare itself was fairly impulsive, and a quick look at the 193 images show that a large eruption is unlikely. More updates will be provided whenever necessary. What they're saying here in this flare, there was not a large coronal mass ejection. If it had been, it would not be Earth-facing either way. But now things are changing, and it is turning Earth-facing. Now, guys, you're looking at images from yesterday, including today. On your bottom left there, coming around the corner, is this sunspot that we're watching. And you can see that flare, that was today, was not an X flare. But the thing about the flare is it has multiple magnetic components. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. And what you're dealing with here, and let me just pause this for a moment. Right across this area, say the equator of the sun, I've said this before, the Earth is to the south of that. In other words, we are not ecliptically balanced throughout the inner solar system. One planet's a little higher in this ecliptic line than the others. And the Earth's area is down here as far as directly sun-facing or directly Earth-facing from a solar impact. So that's what we're dealing with this sunspot. It's moving here. And so within a day or so, it will be directly Earth-facing, but it does not have to be in the middle to affect us. And when you think about this, guys, the U.S. we're dealing with a war in Russia, or a war in Ukraine, with Russia versus the West and NATO. And they have EMP weapons, electromagnetic pulse weapons, that can take out grids and block communications and navigations. Just pretty much wipe out anything as far as radar, sonar, missile guidance. But guys, our Father in heaven has the most powerful coronal mass ejection, EMP, there is. And you're looking at it. It's the sun. So the reason I'm going back here now is because we have not had a lot of solar activity. That's starting to pick up, all in the timing. Now, something I want to show you in the very top of this, in these dark black lines, these are solar filaments. And they can erupt from one end and then whip out in a whip-like motion and cast a coronal mass ejection to the planet. Say, for instance, this dark area is ignited from the sunspot. That will cause it to release. We've seen the coronal mass ejections many times like that. But these X flares can get strong, and all of this is in God's timing. It's time to pay attention, especially when we have a 20% chance of X flares with a nearly Earth-facing sunspot. In the next few days, it will be directly facing us. And actually, like I said, if it's on this side of the sun, we can be affected from a 180 burst. And what you're dealing with here, you've got about 14 days on either side of the sun as far as rotation, 27 point something days, and one sunspot can rotate all the way around the sun and come back, and that's what we're seeing right now. They'll get a different number each time in the rotation, but it's not necessarily a different area. But right now, this is what we're dealing with. Quick look at Russia. Guys, and just quickly before I get into this article, we have obtained a drone, and Tina and I are learning to fly it. We got it in yesterday. We're going to include that in our search for our Bandit. We've had calls each day, one early this morning about daylight from about 30 miles away. But the Husky was beautiful, but he had two blue eyes, and Bandit has a brown eye and a blue eye. But people are trying, so I'm always super nice to them and thank them for what they've done. And again, we have found a puppy mill that the Mississippi Animal Rescue League is coming down on, and we've taken another husky home that was lost, and they were very glad to see him. I think I mentioned that. But that's what we're doing. I'm gonna get this video up, and we're gonna go into the central part of the county here where we've had a few sightings, and we're gonna look really closely with this drone. So we don't give up. I don't give up, and we will always look for him until he comes home. Here in Russia now, we've got to pay attention to this because we are on the verge of war. And the solar aspect at the beginning of the video was, when will those hooks get put in that jaw? Soledar falls into Russian hands. The Russian blitzkrieg destroys Ukrainian defenses. Ukrainians retreat en masse, thousands trapped in the salt mines that are there. Now, the Polish regular army suffered a massive defeat at the same time all of this is happening. They are coming in 2 or 3 different angles, and they're going to take Ukraine out. How far they get before someone in the NATO or the West does something really stupid, I don't know. We don't know. We're going day by day on this. This article also, warnews247.gr, Soledar in for Kiev. Ukrainians surrender en masse. Russian officer, we will cement them in the mines if they don't come out. Many are coming out. They're starting to realize that no matter how much Z-Man screams at them to sacrifice their life, it's just not worth it. And do you remember a video I did about a month ago? I think that some of the Ukrainian soldiers that had felt they were abandoned by their leadership they would not even let them surrender, even if they were out of ammunition and completely surrounded. They said that Russia better get to Zelensky before the Ukrainian military did, because Russia would put him in prison, but the Ukrainians he has betrayed would hang him in Kiev. He's probably not there. He's probably in Florida, like many have said. And here it says, Serevikin unlocked the Ukrainian defenses. Russia's take Optany and enter Krasnaya Gora. Bakhmut, Soledar, link severed. So as they surrounded Soledar, they cut the links, the supply lines. Again, if it was a normal war, we would be seeing a very quick ending to Ukrainian territory. It would be absorbed into Russia, and that's the plan is. And that plan is in place because the West keeps creeping in on the borders of Russia while they won't go along with the New World Order. Another article today, Ukrainians collapse and the West runs. Wow, you've got NATO troops all over the place. There's not much left of the actual Ukrainian army. Europe-wide plan to deliver hundreds of Leopard 2s to Kiev. U.S. sends M2 Bradleys and Palladian M10-9A6s. It's not all. France is sending over 100 tanks. All the nations in NATO now are basically emptying a lot of their military reserves. You know what? The leaders know something that we do not quite know. We do know that it's a demonic push for destruction. But this thing is happening very fast. Of course, the governments would know if there was another threat, something else happening to where the devil knows he has but a short time. We don't know that, but more than likely we're dealing with something or scenario very close to that situation right now. Everyone is pushing this war. Everyone. Russia, not necessarily as much as everyone else. Russia is just keeping their doorstep safe. And I can't blame them. You can call me pro-Putin. I don't care. I'm just anti-demon, as I've said before. And look at our nation. Look at our leadership. The worst on the planet. The absolute worst, the most evil. But guys, this is what we're dealing with. I don't want to draw this out very much longer. Got a lot of area to cover today, but I will, unless I'm totally exhausted, give you an afternoon report or late evening report. We're watching this, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.